Welcome back to Fragrance Network. Today we're going to be looking at Tommy Bahama fragrances, which is why I'm wearing a nice Tommy Bahama shirt. And just like their fragrances, when I'm searching for a Tommy Bahama shirt or a fragrance, I try to find them on a discount. So I'm going to be going over 4 scents from the Maritime line, and then I'm also going to be going over Tommy Bahama for him. So to start off, one thing to note about the Tommy Bahama fragrances is they really fall apart when it comes to longevity and projection a little bit. But the longevity is terrible. I swear most of these only last like 30 minutes at the most before you can barely smell them and they're just a skin scent. So that's kind of where Tommy Bahama falls apart, but as for how they actually smell, they smell really good. And if you can get them at rack stores or pretty cheap, I think they are worth the pickup, a little one to add to your collection. But if you're paying the full price at a Tommy Bahama outlet or store, I don't think that it's going to be worth it for any of these. So let's go ahead with my least favorite of the 5 I have, which is Tommy Bahama Maritime Triumph. So this one kind of breaks away from the rest of the Maritime line. It's pretty different compared to the rest of them. Triumph is a little bit spicy, and when I first smelled it, I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting considering it's supposed to be more of a marine type scent. That's kind of what the line is all about, and really what the brand Tommy Bahama is all about in general. But Triumph has a little spice to it, and when looking at the notes, you can see it has a pimento note in the middle notes, which I think is super interesting. I don't think I've seen a pepper note on anything else, and I think that that really comes through because there's a little bit of spice in there, and I think it comes through in the pimento. The rest of the notes pretty good. I like saffron. That's one I really like. I don't think I smell it that much in Triumph, but one thing I like about the Tommy Bahama fragrances is I feel they're blended really well and smell really nice, even though again the longevity is pretty crap. So that's my least favorite, but it still smells really good. Next up is Maritime Voyage. So Maritime Voyage, as you can kind of guess from the bottle, is a bit of a green fragrance. It has a lot of green notes to it. So it has lemongrass, lime in there, it has juniper, these really kind of green notes, and that really comes through in this scent. It's a really unique scent, and I think that comes from the top note of starfruit. I don't think I've seen starfruit in anything else yet, and at this point my collection is about 85 fragrances, plus another 25, 40 if you include the little samples. I've got a lot of samples. So yeah, it smells really good, and I do think it fits the Maritime kind of line better than Triumph. Triumph is good, but it doesn't sit right with the line, you know? It's not a marine fragrance at all. This one does fit the line a little bit better, but it's more green kind of. When I'm thinking of marine, it gives me more seaweed vibes. It doesn't really smell like that, but it gives me that vibe more when you're kind of mixing the green and the ocean type of scent. So I do think Maritime Voyage fits the line pretty well, and I enjoy it as well, but again, longevity, horrible. Next up is the classic Maritime, just the original one, no flanker, and is just a beautiful classic blue fragrance. It smells really, really good, and it does smell like you're gonna be on a sailboat. For me, like, this is a scent that somebody in the all white kind of, you know, sailor clothes would be wearing is this right here. It really, really is classic. Like when they first made the very first Maritime here, they knew what they were doing naming it that, because it definitely fits that profile really, really well. So this one has quite a few notes. I'm wondering if one of the reasons I really like it is because there's a unique water lily note in here that I don't see very often. I do think the original Maritime performs a little bit better than the previous 2 that I've noted, but it's like instead of 30 minutes, it lasts 45 minutes. It's still not very good. Typically, I don't like to say the lengths of how long a fragrance lasts because I feel like it's really hard to gauge sometimes, because you might go nose blind to it, you might not be smelling it anymore, but other people might be able to smell it on you a lot more. But even then, I think this one I'm gonna put a time on because all of these they go away so fast. Not just for me, but for everyone around me. Whereas some other scents, like I think of Boss Bottled Absolute, that's a really deep fragrance. I have stopped smelling that one after, you know, a little bit of time, whereas other people can smell it hours and hours later. And so I think that can be an example of why I don't like to normally give times and how long a fragrance lasts, because it's kind of a complicated thing, and different noses will have the longevity different than others. So I don't like to put numbers on how long it is. I just like to say, oh, the longevity on this is weak, medium, or strong, but I am giving a time for these. So I hope that's okay. Now for the best and last of the Maritime line is Maritime Journey. Now I haven't tried Maritime Deep Blue, which I would really like to at some point because it sounds like a good fragrance, but Maritime Journey I think just has the most character out of all of the Maritime scents. Now all of these Maritime scents are very mass appealing, they're pretty basic, but I think Maritime Journey has a little bit more life in it compared to the others. It makes me think, again, of being on a sailboat, but it makes me think of being on a sailboat with like a lei, you know? As someone who lived in Hawaii for a couple of years, I love leis, I love that tradition, I think it's really beautiful. And Maritime Journey kind of reminds me of the classic Maritime combined with like the smell of a lei. And so I really like that about Maritime Journey, and that's why it's my favorite one that I've smelled. Again, haven't tried Deep Blue, and I would like to at some point. And that leads to my current favorite Tommy Bahama fragrance, which is Tommy Bahama for Him. Tommy Bahama for Him is really nice because it smells very manly, but it also smells unique. One thing I really like about it is there's a unique watermelon note, which I think comes through. Sometimes, in fact, I'd say most of the time, I look at a list of notes and I'm like, I don't know if I'm smelling half of these. But the watermelon note on this, I do definitely smell, and it's unique, but also very manly, and that's why I like it. It also definitely has the best performance out of all of these. It's much better than the entire Maritime line. However, the longevity still isn't great, but it is better than the Maritime line. So with that being said, I love the Tommy Bahama fragrances. I love the Tommy Bahama brand. I mean, look at how nice this shirt is. A little bird of paradise flower on here, beautiful. But their fragrances do fall short for me, and it's really because of how long they last. Like, I normally get small bottles, like these are all 1 ounce bottles, but I feel like I should have gotten the full-size bottles for these, because I would go through a full bottle just as quickly as the 1 ounce bottles of other fragrances I have, because you really gotta load it up. With these, I probably put 16 sprays on because you really need it to get that longevity on these. You have to spray it a lot because they don't project, they don't last, but they do smell really nice. Honestly, I wish we had a little bit more from Tommy Bahama because I love the Tommy Bahama brand, but their fragrances fall short in their longevity. They smell great, but they're just weak. And that does probably have a little bit to do with the kind of airy, oceanic, kind of fresh vibe of their fragrances, which kind of matches the vibe of their company. But I know other fresh fragrances, you know, oceanic fragrances that do last a lot longer. So it's really a big disappointment for me. However, I love the way they smell and will continue to wear them because of that. I'll just have to make sure to bring the bottle along with me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm still getting this journey going, and I love fragrances, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give the video a like. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.